Yeah.
Hey, real talk, man. I'm gonna hit a lick with one of these parlays.
That's all it takes.
I'm gonna
All
hit
it
a
takes
lick.
is one day.
I'm gonna hit a lick. It's been one game with both weeks.
Look, I'm gonna tell you.
My
I'm gonna tell
picks.
you. I'm gonna tell you how my parlay is going. Right, like I was what's him Sammy D running touchdown away from hitting mine. He gave 2 running touchdowns Thursday.
Hurt.
Yep. I'm gonna hit a lick though. I swear I am. I know. I can feel it.
Yeah. I really don't know what's more impressive: the fact that you won an autographed penny ball, or that you walked away with a 10-pound bag of shrimp. Like, come
The
on,
ladder.
man.
The ladder.
The ladder.
I think so too.
The ladder.
Especially like it's uncooked, so you get to cook it your own way. Like they just
Exactly.
bless you and the wifey and the baby.
Exactly. That's
Come on,
less
man.
money you have to spend, and that is dinner for at least a month.
At minimum. At minimum.
You're not gonna cook it every day.
People
So that's
look
why I said at least a
like,
month.
is he really taking food? I'm like, yeah, bro. I'm finna take this food.
Yo, man, that literally coincides with us being the fattest sport podcast in the world, bro. Like that is the funniest shit I never thought I needed on a
Man,
Saturday
I swear.
morning before 8:00. Like, oh man, if I ain't up now, I'm definitely up. Oh man, Tunica Trevor has risen. Yes, you did, bro. You did your thing. You did your thing.
I tried to tell y'all savage trick. Y'all talking about some y'all got a Philadelphia Eagles start. I was like, no. I told you last week. 50 points was an under. Take that under.
Yeah, is that the only game that I got right last week? That may be the only game I got right.
Should have listened to Trevor.
Did you bet on what I bet last week?
No, I'm just talking about from the games we picked last week. My bad.
The NFL?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
All from the picks.
I think I got all mine wrong.
I think we all picked the Eagles.
Yeah, I think I got all mine right.
Except Sheedy.
The Eagles.
Except Sheedy.
Yeah, Sheedy, me, you picked San Fran.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Y'all two did pick San Fran. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I didn't let that week 1 Jalen Hurticle bother me.
Hurticle.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Damn, it's a good feeling to wake up and just see stuff like this, bro. Like, it's beautiful. Shit, do you see this? Because it's about to be a 4 next week.
Yeah, 3-1.
Yeah, okay.
Who y'all got next week?
One.
But I will. I'll let him talk now. I'll go.
What'd you say, bro?
Who you got next week? Who y'all
got next week?
I mean, next week, because of course y'all play Thursday.
No, we got the Cowboys.
Oh,
yeah, that's why I'm talking. That's why I'm talking to Sheedy. Yeah,
that's
not the game. If that's not the game,
that's a pick
about next week.
That's a pick up next podcast. I'm telling you.
I'm coming on next week's podcast and just like this, the whole hour.
That's a pick 'em. Just a pick 'em. We're gonna put it as a pick 'em, and we're just gonna sit back.
Look, we are a team. It is not about me and Sheedy. We are.
Hey, I know. It'll be Dallas back to back weeks on the pick 'em, but this is one we just gotta just add it and just sit back.
Oh yeah. I didn't even realize who played next week.
Yeah. Hey man, McCaffrey went out. Shit, J.C. Horn went out, but I think they're gonna be good. It may have been a blessing. Don't get hurt against a Texans team when you got the Cowboys. I respect the Cowboys. I respect y'all, but we about to be 4-0 in this thing.
Speaking of being real, we're gonna go talk about the organizations that have been failing their players, and I know we'll get to the NFL games here shortly as well. And unless you're living underneath a rock, because we all know that ESPN doesn't know how to bring up anything else. We definitely want to bring that up. But before we begin, if you want to do the countdown, go ahead too, so we can really get ready. DMX wasn't represented by the Emmys, by the way, man.
Yeah.
Come on, dog. You expecting something different?
If they're gonna get Biz Marquee, why not?
Why not DMX, though?
Hey,
but then again, though, you can't top the late Michael K. Williams, who did a great job of doing his homage to DMX at the BET Hip Hop Awards. So Unless you topping that, don't even try it. But yeah, let's get to this countdown.
Let's get it.
But that's the way to use your 30 seconds there, Mr. Clayton.
What do you do? Eat some of that shrimp?
I still can't get over that.
That's what I should have did. I should have brought it. I started the podcast.
Oh my god!
No, we got a flower segment, so I guess we'll save that for story time with Skylar. So because he definitely deserves his flowers for what transpired last night. We'll get to that.
Shout out to my brothers out here winning, dog. Y'all winning, and I'm proud of y'all.
Yeah. Topic number one, man, on the agenda today. We want to be real about organizations and failing their players, or even just like disruptions with organizations and players. And again, at least unless you've been living underneath a rock, everyone's heard it or seen it, and we all know ESPN is good for not bringing up but one or two stories a day for the whole week, because they don't know how to do anything better. But we're talking about Ben Simmons and the Philadelphia 76ers and how we feel about the current situation with the Philadelphia 76ers and Ben Simmons. Do we think that it is a failure, and I believe it is, failure by the organization to make Ben Simmons a better player, or is this Ben Simmons not doing his all for the organization of Philadelphia that did choose to draft him instead of others? Just because of the order on the screen, I'm going to go the reverse order. We'll start with Skylar, Tunica Trevor, and then Tu.
I think for what's going on in Philly, I think Philly itself, or Philly, the organization, deserves a little bit of the credit, or not necessarily the credit, or the more so the blame for what's going on with Ben Simmons and themselves. But a lot of this falls on Ben Simmons. There's always talk, or there's definitely been talk lately of his inability to take a jumper. We all don't. I mean, there are some on the podcast that feel as if he's scrolling, he's just choosing not to take shots. But I mean, there's also some people that just like he can do it. He should do it. He should do it to help his team, especially help out Joel Embiid when it comes to spacing. And we just have yet to see that. And a lot of that just really just falls on him. His inability to not even just, make jumpers, but to take them. His inability to shoot really, really badly from the free throw line. That's all on him. The organization themselves, I mean, they can, put some things in place. They can set some rules and regulations for him. I'm not sure exactly whether that's, signing him up for a coach, a shooting coach that's different from what everybody else is already using. Whatever the case may be, they could do stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like that's gym time he needs to put on himself. That needs to be stuff that he says, okay, I know I shot 60% from the free throw line last year. Let's get to 65. Let's get to 70%. I only took 5 3-point jumpers last year. Let me see if I can get to 10 to 15. Like a lot of that is on him. Again, some of this for what's going on in Philly, the organization can take a blame on. Because, I mean, there's always been talk some form of fashion about if Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons actually fit together. That's always been out there. I also think the coaching, the coaches that they brought on, I think some of those were misses. And the one that they have now, I also still think that's a miss when talking about Doc Rivers. But we'll leave that to another time.
The championship coach, Doc Rivers, is a miss? I'm
going to leave that where it is. A lot of this, again, is on Ben Simmons for his inability to want more for himself, to take and make jump shots to at least help out his team.
As much as we place the blame on Ben Simmons, and I do agree with Skylar, it is some of the blame, and I do kind of echo those sentiments where he hurts Philadelphia because he's not aggressive, is not coming out looking to score as opposed to looking just to facilitate and be a playmaker. A lot of this has to fall, I'm going to lean more towards the side of the Philadelphia organization. And I'm going to say they didn't know, honestly, what they had with Joel Embiid until they saw what they had with Joel Embiid. And for what I'll say there is, because with Ben Simmons, they did everything in their power to cater to Ben Simmons. Like, we know what all the faults and things of that nature, and him refusing to just, follow suit. But you got to remember, at one point, just literally 3 seasons ago, like, the Philadelphia 76ers were like one shot away from the Eastern Conference Finals, or possibly going to the NBA Finals. This is with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. And what ended up happening? Most of the guys that Joel Embiid wanted to keep ended up leaving, including Jimmy Butler. Why? Just to cater to Ben Simmons. And then now the question that became, like, can these two like really function? And I've been the hugest Joel Embiid fan. I still think he's the best big man in the game, regardless of what the MVP has done last season. And I was like, if Philly really wants this thing to work with Ben Simmons, trade Embiid, because you don't deserve him. Now you're in this situation, if you're the 76ers, where you have at max 5 seasons left, maybe even less than that, given Joel Embiid's injury history and things like that. You have 5 seasons left as possibly a playoff contender. And now that what's going on with Ben Simmons, with you not being able to facilitate a trade, and again, I always point back to the fact you had the opportunity to get James Harden, but again, you wanted to cater to Ben Simmons, and you see what's going on now. Like, you literally had the opportunity to get to James Harden, and now we can pretty much say that Brooklyn is pretty much going to be one of the top teams in the East. That easily could have been the 76ers. But for some reason, you're catering to Ben Simmons. You're trying to make him another Giannis, which he is definitely not. And again, for all fans out there, can we please put some respect on Giannis's name finally, and stop saying that Ben Simmons is a better version of Giannis? No. In a perfect world, Ben Simmons is a better version of Draymond Green. Let's just be real. But in the end, this definitely falls on Philadelphia, because honestly, they didn't know what they had with Joel Embiid, because you got to remember, when Joel Embiid first got drafted, he pretty much didn't play for probably his first 2 seasons. And then we saw what we got, and then they had Ben Simmons too, and it was like, oh, okay, well, how are we going to make this work? But yeah, Ben Simmons deserves a portion of the blame, but I'm leaning more towards Philly, the organization.
The only thing I'm following Ben Simmons here for is not being more offensively aggressive. Of course, we saw what happened last year, and he was criticized, and as do, you know what I'm saying, there was some shots he definitely should have taken. Him not taking the 3, that's not his game. And honestly, like, he's the same height as Dwight Howard, so we didn't ask Dwight Howard to shoot too much. So I mean, I get that he's a guard, but honestly, like, his inside game is pretty good. Like, he knows what he's doing. But this is what I got to say about that. Doc Rivers, Trev, you hit the right on the head. Doc Rivers last year was asked, do you think that this is a point guard for a championship team? His answer was, I don't know, we'll see. For you to be that's your first time, was it first year, second year, whatever time he was coaching, your answer should have been yes. Your answer should have been, we're going to rock with Ben Simmons. We're going to rock with a two-time defensive all-team NBA player, one of the best point guards in the league. We're going to rock with him. But instead, you threw him to the side. So me as a person, I'm going to go, okay, let me see if y'all can win without me. I don't expect Ben Simmons to play another game for the Sixers, as he shouldn't. Everybody that y'all watching, whether it's Kendrick Perkins, Stephen A., whatever, on ESPN, talking about how much money he gonna miss. Do y'all realize who this man agent is? I mean, come on, we talking money. Rich Paul is gonna get that money back in Ben Simmons' hands. Also, part number 2. Trevor, you hit the nail right on the head. They could have had James Harden. Who didn't make that trade? The 2021 version of Christopher Wallace, Del Morey, who's now the GM for the Sixers. So if they literally got nothing for a MVP, listen, y'all, he got nothing for a MVP. What do you expect to happen to Ben Simmons, a quote unquote unused Ben Simmons, unusable Ben Simmons? Like, come on, dog. The Sixers, it is all the blame on the Sixers. Or I say 90% of the blame on the Sixers. And then we working with like the fact that Joel Embiid, hadn't said too much. Joel, get your ass in the paint, dog. Like Trev, he said he's one of the best big men in the league. I agree with you, but he spent more time on the outside than Ben Simmons does. You got to find a way to utilize Ben Simmons. And we talk about jump shot. Once Markelle Fultz dipped out and went to Orlando, he was balling. Am I correct?
Yeah, but his trap may be getting taken, dog. Me and you love us Markelle Fultz, but his trap may be getting taken by Cole.
Yeah, because they got like 5 point guards. So hey,
but
my thing is get out of Philly once you get out of Philadelphia.
Cole Anthony, that dude.
He is.
Shout out to J. Cole too, who was at their training camp.
Y'all know how I felt about RJ Hampton. So I mean, if his spot get taken, cool, but it's not because of Markelle Fultz's decline. It's gonna be because he's injured ACL tear for sure, but he started shooting more. He started being the number 1 pick that he was supposed to be with Orlando. So once Ben Simmons out of Philly, Tunica Trevor, hey, we gonna put up some money on he gonna hit at least 1 3-pointer next season. Watch and see.
I would.
Oh, and can we stop the Draymond comparisons? Can we please stop the Draymond comparison?
No, because that's an accurate comparison.
No, it's Ben Simmons for Andre Iguodala didn't do
here's the thing. If you're not, because Ben Simmons does everything that Draymond does, except on a more athletic base. Mm-hmm. Ben Simmons can defend. Mm-hmm. Ben Simmons is a good facilitator and a playmaker, and he's 6'10". Mm-hmm. Stop playing him at the point guard. Play him at the 4. Let him set screens where he can just catch and dunk like your traditional big man in today's NBA. He can dribble and he can facilitate the offense. Like, stop trying to make him a point guard and stop trying to make him Giannis. Stick him at the 4. Let him run pick and rolls. When he's at the top of the key, he can initiate the offense that way. And he's faster than most 4s anyway. So why not? That's why I say he's a much better version of Draymond Green than everybody's trying to make him to be Giannis. Like, there's nothing wrong with being a better Draymond Green. There's nothing wrong with that.
He's more Andre Iguodala to me than Draymond Green, but that's
Andre Iguodala was at least money from the corner shooting threes. Burr's Draymond. Just accept it.
I'm telling you, Tunica Trevor, we're gonna put some money on Ben Simmons in a 3 next season if he out of Philly. So I'm telling you.
Well, speaking about threes, and I know you spoke about Joel Embiid stepping out to the 3-point line. He didn't really have a choice because it's not like your point guard is respectable from the 3-point line or the mid-range. And so Joel had to step out, to be honest, and try to provide more spacing. And we clearly know, now she wants to cry, but we clearly know that Joel was the better shooter all the way around. To me, there is fault. Come here, baby. There is fault on the organization because the organization did sign him for that 5-year deal, right? They are believing in him, and whatever goes into that. But also there's more fault in the organization as well in regards to, in order to make the trade for James Harden, they needed a who? Ben Simmons. In order to make the trade that never went through for Kyle Lowry, who they need? Ben Simmons. We talked about them, you guys talked about them being 1 shot away from the Eastern Conference Finals. That was a team that was bigger on Joel, and second, really to me, was Jimmy Butler. Then there was Ben Simmons. But I don't recall a situation where an organization is saying, we'll trade our second best player right now because we want to make a run. You don't see the Lakers. You don't see the Lakers going to go and try to trade Anthony Davis for somebody. You don't see the, I hate to say the Clippers, the Clappers, trying to trade Paul George, right? And so, like, that's them. But the really, really bigger piece to me is Ben Simmons. And Ben Simmons' game can translate better. And it's not that he's not going to shoot that 3-point shot. It's the man went all the way to he was at the rim and didn't dunk the 2 points and instead passed it out. It's his decision-making. And at some point, yes, you have to do better with that. And I think about some great players that, had to transition their games and it became great for them. And the number one person I think about is Vince Carter. Vince Carter was a person that attacked the rim. And then he went from attacking the rim to being more of a, perimeter, so to speak, person like, mid-range and such, especially as the Raptors, who were making runs toward the Eastern Conference Finals until they met AI and company. But then through his later years, what did he do? He became a spot-up shooter, even with the Grizzlies and the Mavericks. So he transitioned his game to still be part of the game moving forward. Whereas Ben Simmons, you cannot average what you average. And then if you look at his fourth quarter stats, they're non-existent because he don't play in the fourth quarter, because there's nowhere for him to play in the fourth quarter. And so you have to do better with your game, Ben Simmons, all around. And you're not even profitable. You're marketable right now, because if you were, there'll be plenty of trades that people will be willing to take on. The Warriors aren't really calling. They got in trouble about that. But Ben Simmons at this point, it sounds like he'd be lucky to go to, I don't know, the Kings or the Cavs, because of his trade value. And his trade values went down because it's, what have you done for me lately? And what he's done lately, fellas, sat out during the fourth quarter in the playoffs against the Hawks.
Yeah. And that's where and just to add to that a little bit, that's where the issue lies. And it's not really just with other where it lies with Philly. It's like, with these other teams, these bad teams that you're probably going to trade Ben Simmons to, who from these bad teams is going to help you move the needle forward to keep you as a playoff contender? And you're not going to get much for trying to trade him to a good team, because with Ben Simmons' play, his trade value is going down. And I think that's where the issue lies right now with the 76ers. It's like, I honestly think they should just trade him to Cleveland. Philly should get Colin Sexton, give him another dog on the perimeter, and then you just find a way to get you a point guard and just run it back with that five. But we'll see, man. We'll see.
I tweeted earlier that the Cavs were like the perfect destination for Ben Simmons. One, because it's just a completely fresh start. Two, you got a guy that's making $100 million on the bench that don't want to play. I think if Kevin Love see Ben Simmons coming, he want to play. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. We don't know if Kevin Love's wise. We don't know what he can do. We don't know what he can't do. Whatever.
Why not just send K Love to Philly? It gives you another floor spacer.
Hey, I mean, shoot.
Kevin Love's playing winning basketball.
My thing is, Trevor, bro, if they had a competent GM, I think this move would have been done. I think you can get away with a Kevin Love, Darius Garland for Ben Simmons type of trade. You know,
I think Cleveland likes Garland.
Oh, I mean, throwing Colin Sexton. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Cool. Colin Sexton, K Love for Ben Simmons, like, it worked.
Why not?
It worked, but because it worked, they're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And so like I there's parts that the organization has info, but also it's also about what are you doing, right, as a player, to better yourself as well. For that, if you're going to remain stagnant, then remain somewhere else. Like we said with the Cleveland, like I said, too, that's a really good option. I really like that option, really, for them. And I was talking about that like 2 days ago to somebody. The Cavs are really the better spot, and like you said, new home, new start. Who knows what can happen for you? The Kings, they could get some more shooters from the Kings, I would assume, especially with that contract. But again, the organization has failed because y'all saddled them up for another 5 years. Was this like 2 years ago? And maybe thought something was going to evolve, and realistically, they haven't. He's really making all-star games because of his defense. That's really it. It's not his offensive repertoire. But we'll cook it over to Tunica Trevor because we need to hear about these bets this week, man. What's happening?
Man, look, I'm very, very close to hitting the lick, man, with these picks. Of course, 2 weeks ago, I was one pick away from sweeping. And just this past week, I was 156-yard field goal away from sweeping both college and the NFL. So I'm okay with that. Kudos to the Cowboys for actually picking up their win against the Chargers. So as of right now, my record is 7-2 with these picks. But we're gonna keep it moving. So of course I'm gonna keep it simple, college and NFL, and of course my local pick of the week. If we have some time left before the start of this game, I am gonna look to 9th ranked Clemson at NC State. I'm actually going to look to take the over-under right now is at 48. I'm actually going to look to take the under there because, yeah, Clemson has bounced back since their opening day loss to the Georgia Bulldogs, but they haven't proven as much that they can actually put up some points. And granted, NC State has looked well at home as well, but until both of these teams prove that they can score, I will look to take the under there. I think Clemson still wins this game as they've won the last 8 against North Carolina State, but I don't think this is going to be a high-scoring affair. So look to take the under here at 48, and we'll keep it moving. Another college game I'm looking at is the Stanford Cardinal traveling to take on UCLA. I'm looking at Stanford as a 3.5-point underdog in this game. I will either take that, or I will take Stanford outright with the money line to beat UCLA. Of course, UCLA had the shot that was heard around the world when they upset LSU to start the season, but they suffered a bad loss last week to Fresno State, in which they gave up 40 points. Stanford on the other end has looked impressive. Of course, they started off the season with their win against USC. Their defense is holding teams to just under 107 passing yards per game. And UCLA can't stop a waterfall. They can't stop a nosebleed on defense. With Savage's favorite buddy, Mr. Charles Kelly, at the helm as the head coach. So I will either one is good. I would take Stanford as the 3-point underdog, or I will take them outright as to win this game. And with that, I'll shift to my local bet of the week, and we're going to keep it at home in the great state of Memphis. The Tigers is a 3-point favorite against the Roadrunners of Texas San Antonio. Of course, the Tigers are coming off an impressive win over Mississippi State last week. Of course, we have the third leading rusher in the country as of right now, and we know Memphis is still undefeated at home. They had that nice winning streak at the Liberty Bowl going as well. Texas San Antonio is well coached, don't get me wrong, but their 2 most impressive wins are against MTSU, Middle Tennessee State, and Lamar University. And no, I'm not talking about Lamar Avenue. So give me the Tigers here as the 3-point favorite. Shifting gears now from the college ranks to the pro ranks. I'm going to start with probably the easiest one, and probably the most one that'll probably get you some money. Seahawks at Vikings. I think the over-under right now is like 2.5. Seahawks are a 2.5 point favorite there. Russell Wilson is 7-0 against Kirk Cousins in his career. The Vikings offensive line is a mess. There's uncertainty there with whether or not Dalvin Cook is going to play. This spread with Seattle is just too easy to not take a look at. So give me the Seahawks there as a 2.5 favorite. 2.5 point favorite, excuse me. Second game I'm looking at is the Falcons and the Giants. The Falcons are a 3-point underdog at home against the Giants. The Giants are in a complete disarray right now. They're not looking any much better than they looked in previous years. Doesn't look like they want to play for Joe Judge or things of that nature. The Falcons, on the other hand, have looked okay in their first few games, especially last week against Tampa Bay. I think they're going to have an easier time on the offensive side of things now that they'll have to contend with those 2 defensive lines. So I like the Falcons here as a 3-point underdog. Don't be surprised if they actually pull this game out and won. And lastly, and this will probably be the first time I've actually done this with the Tunica Trevor segment, but I'm looking at the Rams and the Bucks, but I'm not going to look at any of the spreads. I'm actually going to look at specific stats that you could possibly look at to bet. So first, Matthew Stafford, his over-under as far as pass attempts right now is right at 43.5. I'm looking to take the over there because with these previous few weeks against that great Tampa Bay defense, Dallas came out of the gate and just started passing with their aerial attack. They just completely abandoned the run. Atlanta pretty much did the exact same thing in their game. So And we know how great Sean McVay is on offense as far as coaching the offense. So look for him to probably just say, forget the run. We're just going to try and air it out and possibly give us the best chance to win that. And lastly, looking at Mike Evans, his receiving yards is set at 63. I'm actually going to look to take the under there. Of course, Antonio Brown is going to be out more than likely with the COVID list of things of that nature. So it's going to be a lot of Scotty Miller there. So it's going to be Scotty Miller looking for a big game from Chris Godwin. It's probably going to be more of Gronk in that game as well. So the Rams are pretty much going to just throw Jalen Ramsey on Mike Evans, and then everyone else is going to eat. So I will take the under 63 for under 63 receiving yards for Mike Evans, and then Stafford over 43.5 pass attempts. So, and that is my Tunica Trevor segment of the week, and we'll see how this plays out. Let's see if I can continue this streak I'm on. Any questions or comments?
No, I think you chose some really good games and parlays. I think the first one was I think you said Clemson and NC State take the under over that one. Clemson hasn't looked well offensively. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, NC State is on their second string quarterback. So I would definitely take the under there. I wouldn't, because I don't foresee Clemson putting up that many points. In NC State, they're not going to cover their half to get to that number. So, and then you mentioned, what was the first NFL game that you brought up? I think the Seahawks and the Vikings. Yeah, I think that was a really good one too. Dalvin Cook is out, and defensively, Minnesota has not looked good in years. They haven't looked good since their playoff appearance a couple years ago when they won that when they played New Orleans. So I think that was a good one to take Seattle at the 2.5.
Not saying that you get it twisted. They look good for their defense. They look good for their offense. That was years anyway.
Alrighty. So is it on me now?
Yeah, we shifting off to the pickems. Let's do it.
All right, so we're going to switch on over to the NFL pick'em games this week. I don't think any of us had a pretty good week last week at all. You had 2 out of 3, I think. You had the Cowboys over the Chargers. I give you that. Oh, and you had the 49ers over the Eagles. So I guess Sheedy finally had a good week.
I was 2 on the previous week.
We had 3 games on the docket for this week. For those who do not know, Justin Fields is now going to be the starter for the Chicago Bears. Well, I guess until Andy Dalton comes back. But Justin Fields is the starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears this week. They are traveling to Cleveland to take on the Cleveland Browns. So tell me who y'all got winning and why. Order that's on the screen.
Oh, come on, dog. Cleveland, this for you. You don't roll with the Browns, dog. Definitely excited to see Justin Fields' first start. Definitely it's going to be coming against one of the better defenses in the league. And I believe Odell Beckham gets back this week as well. So I'm expecting a better push from the Browns offense. So give me the Browns.
Yeah, and I looked at this game. A few things stood out to me. I'm trying to think of things that Tuke just didn't name, but the return of OBJ is huge for the Browns because they're missing Jarvis Landry now. But I hope it's not a force by Baker to OBJ, you know what I mean, to get his reps up and stuff like that. If Cleveland runs the ball like they should, Cleveland wins this game. However, I'm taking the Bears. The reason why I'm taking the Bears is Justin Fields and the energy that he's going to bring. I'm not saying that about to win every game after this, right? But I think there's something to be said. It's like an unwritten rules. Like it's not a stat or something like that, but like literally that energy, I think it will be on both sides of ball, offensively and defensively. I think his team is going to rally behind him. And I think Justin Fields picks up this win for the Bears, even though, like you said, that defensive line is very, very good. And if I'm the Browns, I'm bringing 5 every time. But I got Justin Fields scattering to win this game. And he's going to remain undefeated in the state of Ohio.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Sheedy here. I'm going to take the Bears as well, and here's why. Of course, everything that Sheedy just said with Justin Fields is going to energize the Bears a lot more. Cleveland throughout the gate, although they've kind of bounced back after the loss to Kansas City, they haven't looked that impressive. They really had a hard time with Houston last week. Even though they still won the game, they still, had their struggles and things of that nature. The offensive line is banged up. Some of their key offensive linemen haven't been practicing all week. So look for that to be an issue possibly. Jarvis Landry is out of the lineup, but yes, you get OBJ back. But at what capacity is Kevin Stefanski going to use OBJ into that realm? So all of that could be a recipe for disaster for Cleveland, and I'm actually going to go the Bears here. So I'll take the Bears in the upset.
No, I think I really want to pick the Bears. I really, really do. The only thing that's preventing me from picking the Bears is their offensive line. The Chicago Bears has probably one of the worst offensive lines in football. And I think because of that, Myles Garrett and that defensive line for the Cleveland Browns are going to make. I think they're going to be the difference. I will also look for Baker to struggle in this game as well. Chicago still has a pretty decent defense, if I'm not mistaken. So I actually think this is going to be a low-scoring game, but I'm going to take the Browns just to edge out, maybe like late field goal type thing. But I think statistically, I think Justin Fields is going to look well because Cleveland's secondary hasn't looked good. Their D line has looked good, but their secondary is still trying to get everything worked out because I know they just got some recent players from free agency. So I think they're still going to struggle a little bit, but I think the Browns will win at the end of the day. All right, so that's the first game on the docket. The second game we're going to be picking from is the LA Rams are taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week. Pretty decent matchup, potentially what a NFC Championship game could look like or NFC matchup could look like. So tell me who y'all got winning this one and why.
I really don't have a reason why, outside of the fact that I just want to be the only undefeated team in our division. So give me the Rams. Like I'm not gonna sit up here and lie to y'all. Like, hey, let's shock the world and be 3-0 while the Bucks are 2-1. Damn it! So give me the Rams.
Yeah, when we discussed, I think we talked about like top 10 defenses. You're looking at, to me, 1A, 1B. Of defenses going into the season. To Trevor's point earlier, that Buccaneers passing defense has been looking very shaky since week 1. And you're talking about Sean McVay, who was an architect for the pass game. And I believe the pass game will come into play. And I think the Rams are actually going to win this one. I think it's in LA as well. So I am going against Tom Brady this week, and I want to say the Rams this week for them. And to me, it's the passing game that Sean McVay is wanting to bring, and it's like, I don't know, it's just something about the Rams, man. It really is. So just give me the Rams. That's all I got. They're not my divisions.
Yes, as I just mentioned about Tampa Bay's passing defense, Dallas and Atlanta was actually able to air it out pretty comfortably against Tampa Bay in that defense. The same thing can be said for the Rams, though. In the Sunday night football game, like the Bears with Andy Dalton was actually able to move the ball comfortably down the field. They just couldn't cash in with any points or anything. But there's a reason why this game was literally a toss-up. But I'm actually going to pick against Thomas as well. I think the Rams edge it out here. I just think, the Bucks have the better personnel on offense. But I just think the Rams are going to be the first to make a play on defense, which is going to be the difference in that game.
All right. Well, I was going to pick the Rams, but all of y'all have picked the Rams, so of course I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I've learned my lesson. I've seen that too many times. When you got a crew of people that's all picking one team, go the other way. So I'm actually going to go with Tampa Bay. I am a little worried that Antonio Brown's potentially not going to play. He did test positive for COVID, but he is vaccinated. So according to the COVID-19 protocols, if he has two days consecutive where he tests positive, then he can of course then play. And I think he's going to be very, very key to Tom Brady in that passing offense. Of course, yes, he has Mike Evans. Of course, he has He has Godwin, of course. He has Gronk, but when Antonio Brown is going and when Tom Brady is looking for Antonio Brown, nobody in the slot can cover Antonio Brown. And now I don't care if it's the Rams defense or not. So having him out there or not there is going to be very, very key. But I'm still going to go with Tampa Bay. I think the Rams won this game last year. So knowing how competitive Tom Brady is, he's probably put a lot of time into film study and done a lot of research on the Rams. So I'm actually going to go with Tampa Bay on this one.
All right.
Yep. And then the last game is the San Francisco 49ers taking on y'all's boy Aaron Rodgers, who likes to talk all of a sudden way too much now for my liking. So that's the last game that we're going to pick. We have, again, it's 49ers and the Green Bay Packers.
Yeesh, I don't know why, but it's just something telling me to go San Fran. So I'm gonna go with San Fran. I don't know why Aaron Rodgers had a bounce back week, which was needed off of that atrocious
Lions,
1 point performance.
It was
Right.
the Detroit Lions. So hey,
That's right.
I'll sleep on the couch with that if wifey got a problem. It was the Lions. So let's just be
Man, but it was the Saints. The Saints, and well, you know what? That's the past. Let me stop talking about the past. I'm trying to do better about this. But give me some about San Francisco. They undefeated for a reason. They defense is looking legit. They bring in some kind of consistency. So give me the 49ers.
Yeah. Things about this game. One, there's not going to be another game on it at this time, so it's a primetime game. Aaron Rodgers typically does well in primetime games. He's going back, quote unquote, home to the Bay Area, which is, I think we talked about this before. Like if there was a trading destination for Aaron Rodgers, we would like to see him, possibly maybe in San Francisco for that. And San Francisco look really good. And I still got the Packers to win this game. Yes, they lost to the Saints. And then the Saints then looked atrocious right then the week after. And yes, the Packers did beat the Lions, and any win against the Lions is a sneeze. But I just think that they're just going to get together. Devontae Adams, they're going to need Devontae and Aaron Rodgers to cook, and they're going to figure out that Aaron Jones really needs the ball much more than just waiting till the end of the fourth quarter, realistically, to give him the ball. And so I think Aaron Jones becomes more of a focal point in the offense. I think the defense for San Francisco is still great, but it's not going to be like a blowout victory, but maybe by 7 at the most, 3 at the least. But give me the Packers to win this one.
Yeah, I think the spread for this game was like right at 3. I think that might change between now and Sunday. But I'm actually going Green Bay as well. I think, like Sheedy said, Aaron Jones will probably be featured a little bit more in the offense. San Francisco has looked great right out the gate. Don't get me wrong there, but I think at the end, this is Aaron Rodgers. He's in California. He's exactly where he wants to be. So he's going to put on the show. Again, it's not going to be a blowout. This is probably going to come down to the final possession. And but ultimately, I think Green Bay wins it. So give me the Packers.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with Green Bay as well. Heart is telling me, or mine is telling me to go with San Francisco just because they have the better defense, and Green Bay's defense has looked really, really bad. They struggled against Detroit. I mean, the Saints put up 41 on their defense. So
the Saints were marching in. You hear me?
I mean, was 40 of them in the back pocket because I was not expecting that. So Green Bay's defense has looked really, really bad. But I just don't want to bet against Aaron Rodgers in this one. Like, it's just like I'm cool with betting against San Francisco. It's just something's telling me that I think Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers, and I think Aaron Rodgers is probably about to go on one of them missions. He's like, all right, y'all talk bad about me for week 1, but let me see what I can prove to y'all what I can still do. And so I'm going to go with Green Bay. I should not go with Green Bay. I'm pretty sure I'm regretting it, but I'm going Green Bay as well too.
My record's already trash with these pickems, so I'm just rolling.
It is a long season, brother.
It's a long season, though. So hey, I'm just rolling.
It is only week 3. We got a long way to go.
That's facts.
All right. how my score increases too, or throughout the weeks too, Trevor. I don't want you to overtake my spot. I feel like I can be first place, but when Skylar goes last, he changes his pick, guys. And so I'm gonna start making him write his on paper first and not be influenced by everybody
Yeah,
else's
I
decision.
picked up on the take. He's trying to hear everybody else out, and then when he sees everybody's going in one way, he goes the other.
Not y'all exposing
Pretty
this,
smart there,
man.
my buddy. Pretty
Not y'all
smart there.
exposing this, man. Come on, dog.
And the last thing, pickems. I mean, we'll go to the flower segment. Definitely going to choose the Cowboys over the Eagles. Savage, I hope you're listening.
This in Dallas?
Yes.
Yep.
First game in Dallas.
Yeah, I didn't put this one on. I didn't put this on the pick'em game just because I know they're gonna play it again later.
Yeah, and I know.
Yeah, that's gonna determine who wins the division because it's always that way.
Yep.
Look, I don't know what it is, but we got the Cowboys next week and the Eagles after, bro. Like, if y'all been a fan of Let's Be Real, I was about to go down the next couple of weeks, especially. You know what this 3-4 mean, right? We finna
the
go
record
3-0 to 4-0.
Yeah.
Let's go. Come on, man.
I'm yelling.
But this time, this is our section to give people their flowers for various different reasons, whatever sports, whatever you see them been going on, and it's we talk only not only, but primarily it's like football season, basketball season's getting ready to get started, baseball season's in full swing as well. But anyone want to start with who they want to give their flowers to that probably doesn't get enough recognition for what they have done or will do here real soon.
I definitely got two. I mean, number one, y'all, we gotta give it up for us, bro. Like this episode 150. Yeah. This episode 150, bro. Like, come on. Shout out to us. Shout out to y'all. Let's keep being great on a consistent level, giving the people what they want, not these flowers that actually are beautiful. Those are beautiful flowers.
Why are you holding them like that?
I don't know.
I'll take the time, and this is actually not a mini rant because of what happened, but I'm gonna give my flowers to the ladies, to this WNBA season leading into the playoffs, which started last night. I think a lot of people were kind of shocked that when Candace Parker decided to leave the Sparks to go home to Chicago, and it's proven to be wonders for them. So shout out to the ladies there, but I'm also using this as an avenue to call out the Phoenix Mercury as well, because they quote unquote hosted a playoff game, but they couldn't play in Phoenix because they had a double concert that night. So they had to settle for playing at Grand Canyon University. Now, you would think since they had to change the venue, they would at least have the decency to bring their floor pieces with them to adjust the floor so it can reflect a WNBA playoff game. But no, they still had the Grand Canyon University floor pieces on the floor, which again is just mad disrespectful and things of that nature. And then of course the top 10 list of the most jersey sales. We really need to get more of our own in the top 10, but you can see from their marketing aspect that that's not the case, but that's a different conversation for a different time. But definitely want to give my flowers to the WNBA for a great season. We're off to a great start right now with the playoffs, and we'll see how this plays out.
I have some quick flowers that I want to give out, and it may be a little shocking to y'all, but I'm actually willing to give flowers and to ESPN and First Take. First Take is actually a little bit more watchable these days. Stephen A is still on there with Molly, of course, but now they don't have one set particular like person that he's going to debate every single time. They now have, people like Dan Orlowski. I'm not sure if any of y'all watch like NFL Live, but that crew was really, really good. So now they have like Dan Orlowski, Marcus Spears, Mina Kimes,
Tebow,
and Ryan Clark. So they all, take their time and get their different chances to come on First Take, which again, it's more enjoyable to watch. It's not that one same particular, person that's going to think a certain way every single time. So it's actually enjoyable to watch, and I'm actually going to give ESPN their flowers for at least coming up with the idea to do that.
Tim Tebow looking good too, brother.
Tim Tebow.
Yeah, not the tight end position though. I want to say there's a few flowers I want to make sure I give out. And I know we're recording, so make sure this is live, and I want to make sure everyone hears it. Want to first give a shout out and the flowers to the Carolina Panthers. Great season. Hopefully we have started to erase that R word that was with us for so many years and decades. But like
decades.
But legitimately, man, like I definitely want to give them their flowers. They're 3-0. And one thing that I hate people say, and it's including like with the Cowboys, and of course I'm a Cowboys fan. After that loss to Tampa Bay, people were like, it's a moral victory. If I've played sports all my life and I don't remember there being a column for moral victories, I remember there being columns for wins and losses. And I also don't remember in that column it saying, oh, they won by 1 point or they won by 1,000 points. 3-0 was 3-0, no matter who you're lacing them up against. So I definitely want to give my kudos to the Panthers and what you guys have accomplished thus far this season. My other flowers, got it. It just left me. Anyways, we'll stick with the Panthers for now. Oh, I got it. My other kudos and flowers go to the Oregon Ducks and what they did against the Big Ten. We could say that the best probably Big Ten team is the Ohio State Buckeyes, but they literally, Oregon Ducks game planned very well and beat Ohio State. They are legitimately the best team in the Pac-12. We've talked a little bit about it. Yeah, it's not, but they're also without 2 starters on defense that are also NFL-worthy talent. And so I look forward to what they can continue to do and maybe continue to, carry a flag for the Pac-12, so to speak, or Pac-6 or Pac Division, whatever they want to be called. Pac-Sun, Juicy Fruit, whatever they would like. But, I do want to give them their flowers as well. So shout out to, again, the Carolina Panthers and the Oregon Nike Ducks.
I don't know if this was already mentioned, but can we give our flowers to the Tigers here at home for responding immensely well to not being invited to the Big 12? After, and I hate to bring it up, but it is what it is. After Texas wet the bed in Fayetteville against Arkansas, Memphis, of course, responded well last week with their win against Mississippi State. And it's only going up from there for the Tigers. So kudos to the Tigers for responding well and just keeping everything moving. And it's only going to get better for the Tigers going forward as we near basketball season. So shout out to the Tigers for responding well to not being invited into the Big 12.
Can I add on to that first, but really quickly, not a flower, just like a little seed. I don't know if that's a seed. From that, talking about the Memphis Tigers collegiately, let's also talk about them professionally in the NFL and what those picks have been doing for the entire NFL, realistically, not just 1 or 2 teams. So shout out to those Tigers. I'm going to take my guy with us for the Cowboys, but everywhere else, the Memphis Tigers are really shining collegiately. That's proving that they have the talent to be in the NFL. They do not need to be looked at again as a second option. Well, actually, they really listed were 5th to 8th option to join a conference that's already been bleeding for years and decades.
Shout out to Dan Patrick for giving us the recognition nationally as well. But I will correct them. We're not running back you. We're weapon you, as we have the title. We are weapon you. So
branded. Savage put that on a shirt.
I was like, yeah, Savage, if you're listening, please brand weapon you. Please do.
Speaking of Brandon,
opportunity.
It's funny that Brandon is not a thing. Like, I wanted to give flowers to somebody who I've seen a commercial of back to back. This is the greatest marketer outside of Donald Trump, and his name is Shaquille O'Neal, the most dominant big man that ever played a game of basketball. When you literally watch TV, you're gonna see a commercial of his. And this was, Shaq was somebody who was bigger than life when he came on into Orlando. Started off doing movies and then, came in averaging, was it 24, 14, and 3.5 blocks as a rookie, made the All-Star game as a rookie of the, like, went from that to going to La La Land, the land of the superstars, the land of the star, winning 3 rings there. Sheedy came to your city and won a ring there. And then the rest is history. But a lot of people don't know that Shaquille O'Neal has turned basketball money into literal generational wealth. And I researched some of the things that Shaquille O'Neal is invested in. We got Papa John's, we got insurance with the General, we got his own shoe line, a couple of them actually. Forever 21, J.C. Penney's. He has part ownership in catalogs that belong to Marilyn Monroe and Elvis freaking Presley. And last but not least, he was an early investor in Google. Like, if that's not turning basketball and your brand into generational wealth for your kids, then I don't know who else you need to study. So let's give us flowers.
Yeah, Shaq figured out early how to play the long game, and it's paid wonders for it. But real quick on that, do you know the story or how he got how he decided to start his own shoe line?
I heard it, but please tell the people.
Oh, absolutely. So this was during Shaq's time in Orlando. He had his contract with Reebok at the time. So after a game, a lady came up to him and basically went off on him and said that, "Hey, y'all charging too much money for these shoes because my kid wants the shoes, but y'all charge too much for them." So Shaq, being the humanitarian that he is, basically offered the lady $2,000 to go buy her son some shoes, and she basically put the money back in his head and said, "No, F that. Like, why don't you make some shoes that is affordable for kids?" And the very next day, Shaq decided to cut ties with Reebok right then and there, and said, I'm gonna go my own way with this. He's like, I'm gonna continue to wear your shoes for the rest of the season, but after this season, I'm going my own route. So he went to Walmart, quote unquote, his favorite store, and said, "Look, I want to do my own thing with these shoes." And they came to a deal, and he said, "My shoes were in all Walmart stores, and the price range was between $19 and $29. So there you go.
Betting on yourself, ladies and gentlemen. If you listen to the podcast, do it your damn self. So shout out to Shaq, man. Had to give him his flowers.
Any other flowers? I think, Skylar, you told your story about how we are giving you your flowers. Have you? I'm pretty sure you did.
Nah, it ain't.
But go ahead since you have to go.
So
So just go ahead.
I'm gonna just tell people to go to my Twitter account and enjoy the story. As Scholar at the Gala was pretty fun and hilarious as to why I won this Penny Hardaway autographed basketball. I just let people know.
And a 10-pound bag of shrimp. Ain't that some
shrimp? But no, I'm good on my end.
All right.
Think we good.
Well, Blissburg County be out on Wednesday. Be on the lookout for Let's Tighten Up this upcoming Tuesday as well. So we're keeping this thing rolling. 150. Shout out to Cap.
Yeah, make sure y'all guys go read that article too that he put out for all of us, man. That was really heartfelt. Being a part of this thing, not as long as you brothers, man, it almost brought tears in my eyes just to read it. So if you're a constant supporter of Let's Be Real, which many of you guys are, please make sure you read that article by Cap for us.
Cool. And they ain't even half of it. That's the crazy part about it. They gotta do a Netflix show on us real soon. Nah, that's it.
Great, man. Go Cowboys.
Stay safe. Be blessed. Peace.
All right, let's get it. Y'all have a good week, and we out.